This is your WCIA 3 forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical.
All right, so good evening to you. Things are nice and calm across the area. No issues out there as of right now, but we have got a little bit of rain that continues to move across parts of central Illinois. Those showers are going to really begin to kind of ramp up. Let's take a look outside. There's a look at our roofing dog, iNet camera in Canville. Actually, hold on. How about Flooring America? I knew I was going to do that again. Flooring America camera. Oh, boy. We do have some of that rain that is showing up across the area. Those showers will be coming to an end here before too long, but they're going to return again as we head into the weekend. 54 in Champaign, 57 in Effingham. That's a look at the rest of this evening. A lot of cloud cover. Light shower possible. We'll talk about a wet Saturday in the forecast when we come back. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 5.
If people will be patient, we can make more and more appointments available.
COVID cases are climbing again in Illinois. The state's vaccinating people at an increasing rate, but the warning signs of another wave are showing. Good evening. I'm Paul Cicchini. WCIA 3's Cole Hankey's in the Capitol Newsroom tonight. Cole, the state's ramping up vaccination efforts in the face of this increase.
That's right. Starting Monday, everybody in Illinois 16 and up will be eligible to get their vaccine. And 20% of the state's total population has already received their first dose. But numbers are still going up for cases and hospitalizations. The state hospitalization numbers Wednesday were the highest they have been since mid-February. And the positivity rate is as high as it's been since the end of January. Those numbers are worrying Dr. Ngozi Ezike.
Yes, we have a vaccine and we're elated about that, but it doesn't mean that this pandemic is completely over. We do need to continue to wear our masks before we can return to what we were doing pre-pandemic.
The increase of the number of older people within the state getting their vaccine is also leading to a drop in the average age of hospitalizations. And that increase in hospitalizations, though, is what is keeping Illinois from entering the bridge phase. And the state needs to be in that bridge phase for 28 days before we could see the Illinois economy reopen and businesses, restaurants, hotels get those restrictions lifted. Paul?
All right, Cole, thanks for that update. Obviously something to keep an eye on. And here's a closer look at today's COVID numbers statewide. Illinois is reporting over 3,700 new cases and 34 additional deaths in the last 24 hours. 7-day positivity rate now up to 4.8%. Nearly 1,800 people are in the hospital with COVID-19. In Region 3, that's the area in red on your screen. 71% of ICU beds are being used. In Region 6, the area in yellow, it's 68% usage. A total of 6.7 million vaccines have been given in the state. 154,000 happened yesterday. It's a new record. The daily average is now 112,000 doses. Vaccinations are underway this week at the Sangamon County Jail as well. The sheriff's office started giving inmates their shots yesterday. They're using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it's a one-shot dose, and they can't be sure inmates will be in their custody 30 days later for a second shot of another vaccine. 106 shots were given in total, 92 to inmates and 14 to employees. More help is on the way for immigrant families. Immigrant Services of Champaign-Urbana received a grant to help with its pandemic response. The $223,000 come from the Illinois Department of Public Health. It'll be spent in two ways: providing families who have tested positive for COVID-19 with a safe place to quarantine, and it will be used to send members of ISCU into immigrant communities to help with vaccines.
So I think the boots on the ground approach, really going to where these difficult to reach populations live and giving them information and having people there, talk to them one-on-one about the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine increases that those numbers of those difficult to reach populations.
The money from the grant will last until October 31st, but ISCU will continue its outreach in those communities beyond that date. Here's an update now. A 26-year-old woman was taken to the hospital after a crash in Champaign County. Happened overnight on southbound I-57 near the Tuscola exit. State police say the woman pulled over to the shoulder and then back onto the road as a semi was driving by. She was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Both the driver of the semi and that woman's passenger were not hurt. State police are still investigating. A firefighter is hurt after working to put out a house fire in Charleston. Crews were called to 8th Street Circle near Taft Avenue around 5:30 this morning. When they arrived, flames were coming from that two-story home. The fire chief says the flames were so big they had to use a ladder truck to spray it down before firefighters could go inside. The home was unoccupied and under renovation. The house badly damaged, and investigators are trying to figure out what caused that fire. Here's a follow-up now. State Fire Marshal's investigation into a fire in Pawnee Tuesday is not yielding many results. The fire marshal marked the cause of that fire as undetermined. It destroyed 4 buildings on the village square. The damage too extensive for the fire marshal to determine a direct cause. City of Champaign's addressing concerns about a park where it was permitted to have 2 prescribed burns. Take a look. They were at Glen Park and 2nd Street detention basins. Prescribed burns, of course, are used to help regenerate the native plants, and leftover ash is good for the soil. Public Works says the animals they saw moved to safety, and there was no intentional burning of nests or eggs.
We wanted to let people know that it was indeed a prescribed burn and that it was not, in fact, done. I don't know if someone thought it was done maliciously or if someone thought it was arson or something like that. So we wanted to address that. Yes, we are aware of it.
Property owners were notified the burn would happen. The city had staff on site until last night to prevent any unwanted spread of the fire. Springfield Police Department is trying something new to curb gun violence, calling it a violence reduction plan. WCIA 3's Abigail Metch is live in the newsroom. So, Abigail, a name is one thing. What does the plan aim to do?
Paul, they've created a gun violence task force. Some officers have been reassigned to focus solely on shooting investigations. Gun violence in Springfield has increased significantly over the last 5 years. There were 70 confirmed shots fired from January to March of this year. Last year, there were 35. And it's not just the families of the victims who are affected by this violence.
But you really have to consider the impact on the community. When these incidents occur close to schools and schools go on lockdown, they present a risk to anyone in the area. And recently we have had schools and businesses go into lockdown when incidents have occurred in their area.
The department is also trying to keep an effective number of officers out on the streets for daily calls. But they say other investigations might be delayed because more officers are focused on the shootings. In the newsroom, Abigail Metch, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
All right, Abigail, thanks for that update. Now, the number of shootings has also increased. There were 23 from January to March of this year. That's up 6.8% from January to March 2020. Here's an update now. A man's been found guilty of sexually assaulting a child in Decatur. A jury found Darquez Hobbs guilty of home invasion and 3 counts of predatory criminal sexual assault. Hobbs sexually assaulted a 5-year-old in 2019 after breaking into the child's home. He's expected back in court for sentencing next month. A former youth pastor will spend over a decade in jail for sex crimes. Roger Van Raden was sentenced today to 15 years in prison for assaulting a teenager who was a member of his congregation. Prosecutors say the court heard evidence detailing 4 years of sexual abuse, and they recommended a 23-year sentence. He was involved with that girl since she was 14. The prosecution is calling medical experts to the stand in the trial of Derek Chauvin, what they say caused George Floyd's death. Plus this.
President Joe Biden announces a set of executive actions to curb gun violence. And Basil John reporting in Washington, we have the latest on the announcement.